In this video, I'm going to explain multiple steps of my process for this salamander shirt. I start by finding the center of the shirt and drawing an outline of the image with washable marker. I paint hot melted beeswax onto the cotton fabric with a janting tool following the marker outline. I do this to create a seal around the image so when I paint dyes, they stay within the area that I'm painting. I also paint beeswax with a large paintbrush. It's quicker to fill in large spaces with the paintbrush. I did this splatter technique with multiple dye colors to give the image more depth instead of it being just one flat color for the scales. To bring the scales to life, I sketched out the pattern first with tailor's chalk. I often use washable markers, pencil, or tailor's chalk because they are temporary and easily removable markings. Having the sketch makes it easier for me to capture each scale section. Painting beeswax like this takes patience and practice. Now I'm painting the gaps between the scales with a darker green dye color. I do this with a paintbrush and a small dye dropper. I paint and dye shirts with permanent procion fiber reactive dyes and soda ash. These dye colors are brilliant, permanently bond to the cotton fibers, and do not fade even after repeated washings. I'm using 100% beeswax. This is not a blend, so I'm not using any paraffin and I'm not using any resin, just beeswax. After I've finished painting the image, I allow the dye time to dry, set, and then I paint beeswax over the entire image to prepare it for the dyeing process. I'm dyeing the shirt black with a mix of 3 different dye colors. I find mixing multiple black colors helps to achieve a better black. This is a very concentrated dye mix with the minimum amount of water necessary. Once the entire shirt is soaked in dye, I spray it with a soda ash water mix. I let the shirt sit and dye for about 48 hours. After the dyeing process is complete, I thoroughly rinse out any extra dye that didn't bond with the cotton fabric. I do that with multiple water baths, and this takes about 24 hours to complete. It's important to remove as much lingering dye out as possible so the dye doesn't stain the shirt during the next step. Finally, I get to remove the beeswax. This is a time-consuming and messy process. I do this outside, which means the weather is a big factor. I don't boil if it's very windy because my fire just gets blown out easily, and I avoid days when it's freezing or extreme heat and humidity. I place the shirt into the boiling water so the beeswax melts. Then I place it into a cold water bucket, and I repeat that step over and over again. I also turn the shirt inside out to check the inside where the beeswax can accumulate. I repeat these steps until I've removed as much beeswax as I possibly can. Here's the shirt and all the other shirts that I finished on the same day. I put all of these shirts in the washing machine and then check them to ensure that the beeswax has been thoroughly removed. Any shirts with beeswax still lingering in the fabric gets boiled again. Each shirt that I make takes several hours to create. Please let me know if you have any questions about my process, and also let me know if you'd like to see more detailed videos where I focus on each step individually.